Welcome to Dentology, the Business of Dentistry podcast. In this podcast, we delve into the non-clinical aspects of dentistry with inspirational guests from across the profession. You will hear incredible life stories, pick up valuable business tips and be entertained. I'm Andy Acton and I'm joined by my co-host, Chris Drevens. When you look at the lineup of someone's languages and they can speak English, Spanish, Italian and Arabic, you know you can have an interesting guy, don't you?
I tell you what's interesting, isn't it? When you do the language thing, one, obviously flipping impressive, you can speak four, but also because of his heritage, there's mixtures of, people's personalities or heritage. It's quite fascinating. I mean, lovely chap, lovely guy, really nice
and
guy.
his whole take on careers and morphing from one stage to another, and clearly there's a love of art. But I thought the conversation around the dental collective and the debate side of things, we've got to a stage in life, haven't we, where expressing an opinion is a relatively risky thing to do.
Yeah, especially if it's not a popular one.
Yeah, but I think creating the environment they have, which is, wrapped in safety so people can do that, is great. And the event's obviously coming up soon. And like I say, Mehy was very generous in giving a discount code for people who want to come, and that will be in the show notes. So no, it'll be a great listen for people.
I say great podcast, and I'm looking forward to the Dental Collective for sure.
Here we are. Yes, again.
Another episode of Dentology, the Business of Dentistry.
Absolutely, looking forward to it. And today we are we're delighted. We have a dentist specialising in restorative dentistry, the co-founder of the Global Dental Collective and Sustainable Clinics.
Not easy to say.
And just to kick off, he's fluent in English, Spanish, Italian, and Arabic. So very welcome to Mehy Lo Presti.
Hey, very good.
Welcome, Mehy. How are you doing?
Well done.
That's very good.
Pronunciation.
Look at that. I embrace my best Italian. How are you doing? Are you doing well?
I'm really good. Thank you. How are you guys?
Yeah, very good. I'm just impressed that you're fluent in so many languages. I'm barely fluent in English. So it's amazing. Flip.
We'll get to that, but it is very impressive. To kick off, Mehy, what is it we need to know about your early years so that we understand the person you are today? How did it all start for you?
And why you can talk 4 languages.
Yeah.
Well, I was born and raised in Spain.
Right.
But I'm my dad is Palestinian, my mom is Italian. They immigrated to Spain like 35 years ago, and this is where they decided to have their family, and this
Can
is
I
where
just
we
pull you back? How did an Italian and a Palestinian meet?
That's a good question, actually. Nowadays would be easier, but the thing is that, my mom grew up in Alexandria, in Egypt.
Oh, okay,
right?
yeah.
And my dad was doing medical school there.
Right.
So they had kind of a Romeo and Juliet story. Both families were not really impressed by their choices.
Really?
They were completely different worlds. And but back in the days was completely. It still happens. So they had to basically fight for their love, and they decided that Spain was a beautiful country to start their story, and this is where we ended up. Yeah.
Oh, what a lovely love story!
Oh, that's brilliant, isn't it? It's interesting, isn't it, that you got an Italian and a Palestinian. You have to go to Spain.
Yeah,
it's just like to almost be neutral ground.
Out of interest, where does your heart live? Where do you feel is home for you?
Oh, yeah, good one.
It's a good question. Actually, I feel from everywhere. To be honest, I never felt really Spanish, and never felt from London. I traveled all around the world. My wife is Italian, so it's kind of is winning the Italian side.
Right.
But actually, I have a friend who solved this really well, and he asked me this question, and he said, when the World Cup arrives,
I was going to ask you, which team do you support? That's the one.
What team do you support? That's the real question. Like, gosh, okay, I have to say that Spain. Really, that's my team. Yeah,
interesting.
So I would go for Spain, and if that's the answer.
Yeah, and that's the thing, isn't it? You know, football. People don't change their football teams, and so if that's a
Exactly.
team you
Can't change your
support, then
football
I guess
team.
that's where your heart is.
It's quite handy though, isn't it? Really, because most of those teams, apart from this time, would have got into the World Cup. So you've got sort of a choice, haven't you? Really, depending on who's doing well, you can start off Spanish, then maybe become Italian,
Well,
and potentially
trust me,
English,
last year,
depending on how it works.
Palestine team is really doesn't even exist almost, and Italy was not doing really well. So
Yeah,
that's
so they didn't make the World Cup,
which was good.
No. So we kind of got
we digress.
I was going to say we got segued by your parents' wonderful love story.
Yeah, sorry about that.
So now back to you. What was your upbringing like then?
So how was my childhood? You mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I had a really happy childhood. I mean, I was the weirdo. I grew up in a really Spanish place in Midlands, where I was the only person not called Fernando or Jose or Julian. So it was quite of I needed to really overcome this, and always needed to be the best on anything that I did to feel confident. But that made me actually really want to do things in the best way possible. But I had a great childhood, and I was always a confused teenager. I didn't know what I wanted to do in life. Still don't know. But I think that's it's probably one of my weaknesses, that I don't know exactly what I want to do.
But Mehy, I think the thing is this when you hear people trot out these lines like, follow your passion, most people don't necessarily know what that is, and it's not particularly helpful, because when people say this, it assumes that everybody knows what their passion is and it's easy to follow something. Most people are like you, they're like us, they don't really know what it is. They just find something they do that they really enjoy, but they're not sure if it's the thing. They just make the most of the situation they're in at that time.
There's a great song by Baz Luhrmann, which is called something like "Everybody Should Wear Sunscreen," and basically it's an old song that he talks his way through. But he talks about things like, as you get older, look after your knees and things like that. But one of the lines that he has in it is, "Don't worry about what you're thinking about, because some of the most interesting people I've met are in their 40s and they've still no idea." And I think it's a real true thing in the fact of we sort of try and pigeonhole ourselves, and actually sometimes it's just like go for the ride, see what happens.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I'm comfortable with that, to be honest. I think there's a beauty. I always thought I would like to have 3-4 more professions and the rest of my life. I mean, I wouldn't like to retire as a dentist. I wouldn't like to retire ever, but I think I'm going to be doing 3 or 4 more things for the rest of my life. Yeah.
So how did the confused teenager decide that dentistry was the first chapter of your book?
I was really confused, and my dad was worried about that, in terms of like I didn't have anything clear, and he basically kind of helped me on the decision, and he said, "Look, he's a doctor, right?
I was going to say he's a doctor. He must be with a medical
doctor.
school.
So and his passion, his hobby, his love. He loves it." And he said, "Look, I don't see you being a doctor, to be honest." But you're good with people. You're quite skilled. Dentistry is a safe bet, and then you can always try. And if you don't like it, you choose to do something else. So yeah, I think he was my inspiration, let's say, for to pick this profession. Yeah.
And what's the process? We've been talking to various guests over time about the UK schooling system, such that you need to take your decision in terms of your subjects in your when you're sort of 13, 14, and then that puts you on the path to choose your higher education, your A levels in the UK when you're kind of 17, 18, which then gives you your pathway through to dental school. And I always take the view that I think putting that pressure on people in their early mid-teens when they're just trying to work out who they are is a big ask. What was the situation like in Spain in terms of what was your pathway through to get into dental school? Was it similar? Did you need to make those decisions quite early on in life?
Yeah, it's similar. It's the same. When you start deciding if you want to go through science, through maths, through numbers, through letters, we say, and if you would depends on what you want to do. You really need to start deciding the path, which I don't think is fair to do with the kids, and I think you need way more time. I mean, there's no perfect system, but I'm sure that is not the right decision to take when you're so young, especially because you don't take that decision. Your environment takes it, and then your friends take that decision, or whoever, whichever TV show it was fashionable in that moment. So it's pretty tough, and I wouldn't, probably knowing what I know today, I wouldn't pick the same path.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Why'd you say that?
Boom.
Why'd you say that?
No, I think I'm thinking always. I think I would do something more related with design. That's sure. Yeah, this is what I mean. All my hobbies are on that path. On that.
Yeah. I mean, I know you love your art and design, and actually, I guess there's probably never been a better time to be in dentistry
with creative,
with that flair, because I think the aesthetic side of dentistry is kind of really pushing forward beyond where it was perhaps 5, 7, 10 years ago. But perhaps it doesn't necessarily go far enough for you in terms of your creative side of things.
Luckily, because you don't know that. People tell you, "Oh, you do dentistry," but you do dentistry, but you don't know that there is an artistic side. Like I don't believe people saying, "Oh, I did dentistry because I'm an artist."
Yeah,
I think I always say that. I think dentistry is a profession full of artists that they were not brave enough to become an artist.
It's interesting.
And then and this dentist is a safe bet. It's a great profession where you can do a lot of things, and then you can be whatever you want in that profession. It's great.
Yeah.
But when you're 16, people are getting inspired by their parents. They don't know how artistic they are, or that they are dentists, or you've seen your dentist treating you, which I'm not sure how much art you can see on that. Or because if you want to become an endodontist, there's there's not much art in it. But I understand
I think also for some people there's just the reality of life that dentistry does pay pretty well. Yeah. And as an artist, most artists only get wealthy once they're dead. That's a brutal reality.
Yeah, no, that's true. That's what I'm saying. It's a safe bet. I don't know any unemployed dentist that is having a tough life. You can earn more or less, but you can have a life.
And what was your dental school experience like? Because obviously for most of the people that listen to this, they're UK based, so they're very familiar with what the UK system looks like. But what was it like out in Madrid?
I had a lot of fun.
That doesn't surprise me.
So partying around the world. So obviously dental college is the same everywhere.
Yeah, exactly. Fun is everywhere. The system, the 2 first years were tough for me because there was nothing related with dentistry. It's quite general medicine, biology, chemistry, which are not my strengths. And then you start using your hands, in your 3rd and 4th and 5th year. I basically studied in a town in Madrid, which is only for students. Right. So it's like there are 30,000 students living in a small town, and everyone lives. You live with your friends in your villa, and so it's like a really nice place to study, and then you make friends forever. So I had really good fun, but I hate studying. I'm not a good student, even though I have after I did a master's here and everything, but I don't like studying much.
Sure, it's sort of a means to an end. So what was it that brought you over to the UK?
Well, then, I finished my studies. I traveled around the world. I did 6 months charity, and I was enrolled with the university in Dominican Republic. So then that was amazing. And then I went back to Spain, worked for a year. But I didn't like much the system, the dental system there. It was a little bit difficult to do the dentistry that you want to do. So then I wanted to travel around the world. That's what was my aim. So I considered London probably the capital of Europe and one of the capitals of the world. Back in the days, I thought doing a master's was really important. So yeah, that's my, and I thought, why not? My English wasn't that good; it was terrible. So I really needed to upgrade my game on that.
Right. So it was doing your masters at King's that actually brought you to the UK, and then you decided to stay.
Yeah, I kind of like I liked that the opportunities to do better dentistry here were higher. I didn't know the city that well, but I thought it was a good starting point for anything you want to do. I think if you make it in London, you can make it anywhere in the world almost.
Yeah. And your master's was in restorative dentistry. So was that, I was going to say, so was that kind of the link to the artistic side of things? Were you trying to get that drawn more into your dentistry?
I think because I tried everything before. I did endo, a year of endo. I did a year of perio. And I said, okay, it needs to be restorative. And then I started little by little doing more restorative dentistry. Then I did my master's, and then I said, okay, this is what I like to do. I want to do, and then I was doing it part time while I was working. So I managed to also implement a lot of what I was doing. So that was good.
Excellent.
And where were you living? Were you living north, south, central?
East.
Okay.
I was living I was living with 6 girls in a flat in Milan. I didn't even know though. It was just the first day I arrived, and I rented a room, and my job was in Notting Hill, so I was.
Oh my goodness! Right.
I was going the Central Line up and down. I had a really cool first job, I have to confess. I was. So I know everything about London. I know the east, I know the north, I know the south.
Okay.
And it's funny for somebody who isn't from London. London's big. And there's lots of other capital cities you can walk around in a day, whereas London's massive. So to think that you're in London in Mile End, but you're working in Notting Hill, that's a good hour, an hour and 10 minutes. That's a big journey every day.
That was a train to work.
And it's like living in different cities. I mean, I think London has easy 6 different cities. That's the beauty of it, and that's what actually it was actually attracting me.
Brilliant. And more recently, you're one of the co-founders of the Dental Collective as well, which is a debate-centered event. What drove you to create this? There's no shortage of dental events in the UK. We love a dental event. You can put on a suit, a black tie, or a pair of jeans most days of the week. What drove you to create this event? Because it is a bit different.
It's a bit different. Actually, I have a joke with Kyle Stanley from California, and he came to our event last time.
Yeah.
And he was telling me, like, I never seen so many black tie events in the history, like as you have, because it was like, we speak like almost every 2 weeks for different reasons. Like, how many events you have in black tie? I was like, I know, I actually
we love them.
And they all happened around the same time, which is frustrating.
So Global Dental Collective came together because we always had in mind to create events for the dental community, mainly to support the lifestyle of the dental provider, like showing them how to look after themselves, how to deal with litigation, better postures, meditation. All these kind of things. So we wanted to create something really different. And then Joe Lovitz, which I'm sure you guys know.
Yeah, we know Joe. Yeah, he's been one of our previous guests. A great guy.
Yeah, an amazing person. And he came across with, actually he asked me to speak in one of his events. So I told him, look, why don't you come to East London? I need to show you something. And I'm not sure he was really confident about coming, but he ended up coming. I introduced him to one of my best friends, Bruno, and a business partner. We went to his venue, and I pitched to him what we wanted to do, and he stopped for a second, and I don't know if he was gonna just run away or just say you guys are bananas. You don't know where you are. So they stopped for 3 seconds and said, okay, I love it. I think we can do this. And then it just happened. It's funny to see. Like I always say, I would like to record our meetings because are a little bit crazy. Like Bruno is coming from the music festivals world. He has his own label in East London. He does festivals around the world.
Wow.
And then Joe is from a completely the other side. Like he's more cautious and working in a super conservative field, which is dentistry.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm trying to put things together so something reasonable comes up. But it's really interesting because Bruno comes with crazy ideas. Joe thinks it's like, okay, we can't do this, but well, we kind of try to find the mid-term for everything, and then that's how it came up, something really special and unique.
Interesting.
And there's two elements to it. There's a boat party, which is kind of the part two, but which is pretty obvious what that's going to look like. But the bit before, you've gone for this debate angle, and increasingly we seem to be living in a world where people are cautious about sharing opinions on things, especially opinions that might not be universally agreeable, because we kind of have this cancel culture. Whereas if somebody
sued,
and if somebody says something that you don't agree with, kind of you just seem to fall out. So it's quite a bold step to take to put people in an arena where there's going to be a debate, and it requires grown-ups to have differing opinions and move it forward. So how did you curate what topics were going to be, and how did you manage that to make sure that it stayed a kind of comfortable and safe environment? Because potentially it could be a bit of a tinderbox, couldn't it?
Confrontational. Lots of people shouting at each other, pointing fingers.
Yeah. I have to confess, I didn't know how it came up the first time. It was quite risky, and I remember actually telling Bruno, I was like, Bruno, I need the venue, I need to rehearse. He looked at me like, I mean, we are in London. We don't rehearse. There is no time and money to rehearse. We do what we had in mind. We put it together the same day, and we go for it. So it was when we pick the topics, is a mix of obviously we ask a lot of people what they want to talk about. We read, we watch their social medias, and we kind of try to figure out what they can get the best out of, like what is the most valuable topic in that moment. And we try to bring people from different opinions, so we can basically have a debate. Even though a pure debate, is people with completely different opinions, but this is difficult to find, as you said, because people are still a little bit scared. But I'm really proud to say that people felt, and this is our main goal, that people need to feel safe and happy to share, and they're never going to be judged for whatever they need to say. And this is something that in my speech when I opened the event, I want to make really clear that everyone here is safe to share what are their thoughts, and to feel that they are not alone. And worse, when I've been doing now interviews to the previous panelists, they all say the same. Thank you for creating a safe space where I didn't feel lonely. I realized that I'm not the only one thinking in this way. And people got conclusions, really nice conclusions from every topic, which I wasn't expecting.
It's weird, isn't it? Something that you would hope just be kind of a mainstay of society, being able to debate and have conversations and sharing different views. They say, don't they, that if you're in a room and all your friends agree with everything you say, you need more friends. And you do. You need to have that difference of opinion, because that's how you learn and that's how you move things forward as well.
And that your opinion is not the ultimate cast iron opinion; it's an opinion.
Yeah. So clearly, last year went very well, to the extent where you've got another one coming this year. In fact, not that long in the future. So what does the one this year look like, and what can we expect from it?
Well, we learned from all the things that we had to change from the previous one. So we were making, last time we had 3 topics. This time we're having 2 topics. because people wanted to discuss more, and we
Right.
were short of time. So we're gonna pick 2 topics. People will have more time to interact because the audience can interact. This is one of our also main characteristics. Everyone can exchange their ideas, and the 2 topics this year are litigation or fitness to practice.
Interesting.
Quite linked. And the other one is a career in dentistry, is expectations versus reality. We're trying to bring 2 young professionals from one side, 2 super successful dentists from the other side.
Wonderful.
We wanna ask them, both of them, what are your struggles?
What's the reality?
To when trying to find a job, when trying to hire, because I think there is a huge gap in between both words.
Yes.
And I think this conversation needs to happen.
Because you've got Raj speaking, I think, haven't you? You've got Raj as one of your guests.
Yeah, Raj Ratan is going to
that'd be great.
It's going to speak at in the fitness to practice topic. We're trying to bring someone from the GDC. So we are.
How's that going?
We're in constant conversations with them. We'll have a representative, and then 2 young dentists that they had already some experience with GDC litigation.
It would be interesting to have the GDC person turn up, wouldn't it? Ooh.
Yeah, I mean,
I have to say they're really keen. I mean,
that's good. That is good.
I mean, what's really good is it would also debunk some of the myths around it. One of our previous guests that we spoke to, his episode still to be broadcast. He went through a fitness to practice hearing, and it was a spurious claim, and he was cleared. But the stress of going through it for him was enormous, and it was the time delay was the thing that really got him. That you've got this kind of sword of Damocles hanging over you for months and months and months before you find out what's going to be happening. And during that time, you kind of got to keep the show on the road and keep pushing forward. So it'll be interesting to get people's take on. You've got the aspect of the individual complaint, but then the wider implications and impact on you as an individual and the stresses that causes with you and your business and your family. So I think that would be a great conversation.
Exactly, I agree. And also, people don't know much what the GDC does.
Yeah,
I didn't know much of it. I had a completely different idea. When I actually had a one-to-one call with them, and I learned a lot. It's like, you know what, people, they need to know these things, all these numbers that you're giving me. And it's true that we can do things in a different way. So it would be good for you to also listen what is actually the struggle of the people, and then it might not be that difficult to fix.
No. Oh no, I think
as you said, sometimes it's that time, that waiting time. But maybe you need to hire more people. That's it.
Yeah. And I think from a PR point of view, it could be really good for the GDC, because actually, I think if the dentists understand more about the role they're playing, and like you say, imagine if out of this debate there came an improvement in the system, which meant that everything got fast tracked, and end to end it could be dealt with within a few weeks, as opposed to months or even a year.
Or there's a big fight, because that would be quite entertaining.
No, we don't want to make it a fight. We want to make we are collective. We want people to.
Yeah, I think it'll be really interesting.
Collaborate.
Yeah,
but
it'll be really interesting.
Yeah, I think we're positive. I think we can get great ideas for both sides. For I don't want it to. It's not like we don't want to bring the GDC and start telling them how bad or how good they are. It's just like to listen to each other and listen. Also, their concerns. Maybe they have.
Yeah. It's a bit like you were saying.
The industry's not going the right way.
Yeah.
You guys need to fix this. Right?
As you're saying, mate, probably no one or very few people have actually ever met anyone from the GDC. It's almost like this faceless monster.
Exactly.
But also going back to your point about it being a collective and it being a debate. They deserve that right and that privilege as well to set out their position, not be stoned by the people in the arena. They also have to have that space and that safety of saying, this is our situation, this is what we do, and this is how we do it. And people respect that. They might not like it. There's lots of things I hear I don't like, but I'd still prefer that person to have the freedom to say what they want and not like it, as opposed to just never hear it.
Exactly. This is why we want to give them the opportunity to actually explain it. And actually, when I have to say, like, when I heard it from them, I liked it. I liked what he said, and I saw things in a different way. It's just like I feel like there is especially look something different that I see from Spain actually. Going back to the topic is the way we practice dentistry. Is an incredibly defensive dentistry in UK. People are scared to practice good dentistry. And not good dentistry, but the dentistry that they don't want to get in trouble. Yeah. So they are really conservative, and that is not fair for the profession or for the patient. There is obviously there is a problem in Spain. You are not afraid of anything. Maybe goes goes both sides. It's maybe it's too much, but it should be a middle term that you're confident to actually perform the treatment that you think is best, and not being scared of well, what if I didn't write my notes in the right way, or it's not fair.
And I think from the conversation we have, that seems to be getting worse. Whether that's a reality or not, I don't know. But my impression is it seems to be getting worse, and it also seems to be something that's almost being trained into people at dental school.
Yeah, definitely.
In that they're coming out, obsessed about note taking and recording. And don't get me wrong, it's really important to have the records of what's been done. But that shouldn't kind of drive
extraction. But
write
loads of notes.
Because, like I say, that potentially then has an impact in terms of what the experience is like for the patient.
Yeah. I mean, I work with consultants that they are still not sure about doing certain treatments because they don't want to get in trouble. It's not the way you should feel. And I don't blame the dentist, to be honest, because it's since they are in dental school, they grow with this fear that they're going to get sued, and it's not healthy. It's not healthy.
I think that would be a fabulous debate. Mehy, let us know when is the event? How do people get themselves a seat at this event?
So the event is in Hackney Wick. You said when? Sorry.
Yeah. When is it? Yeah. How do people get tickets?
It's on the 28th of April.
Lovely.
And it starts. Doors open at 6 p.m. Then the debate. There's normally some food. People come from work starving. That's what also we realized. There is the debate starts at 7. It's 2 hours debate. We stop in the middle. There's more food and drinks also, and after we start the social part, which is this year we changed the booths for a bigger space, and we're doing a secret theme, which I think was going to be really interesting. It's the guys put an open bar, food, DJs, and then after, for whoever stays late, we have a boat. Yeah.
Oh wow!
So it's almost a full day. So people
sounds brilliant
with energy. It's really fun. We also we Bruno reinvested on the place, so there's better sound, better lights, better food, better everything. So I'm really excited. It
sounds like everything's bigger and better than before, including a bigger boat. That sounds like a line from Jaws, doesn't it?
Or Chris Jansen.
Yes.
Yeah, country and western stuff, but that's another conversation.
Oh, it sounds good. What we'll do, Mehy, if you could let me have a link, we'll drop that into the show notes because this episode will be going out before the event. So if there's anybody who isn't already booked on, they can jump into the show notes, click on the link and get themselves a ticket.
Yeah, great. I'll get that for you. We're going to get a discount code for your listeners. And then we'll have a lot of fun. It's really nice. It's really nice. It's completely worth it.
Brilliant.
Yeah, it should be interesting.
So you're a dentist, you did your MSc, you're the co-founder of Dental Collective, and if that isn't enough, you also are the co-founder of Sustainable Clinics as well, which is an organisation that helps practices become more sustainable in their practice. In practical terms, what does that look like? How do dental practices kind of move in the right direction? Because we hear a lot about sustainability and what needs to be done, but how does that manifest itself in a dental practice?
So, sustainable clinics is a philosophy of healthcare, and we like to base it in sustainability, and that means use as less resources possible to treat people. This is linked mainly with prevention. The more we use our healthcare system, the less we use it, the more sustainable it becomes. That's common sense. So it's we like to link prevention is the main way of practicing this dentistry, and if these two, when you put together prevention and sustainability, you need to use really high technology, which nowadays we have amazing tools and materials and softwares to make a really preventative and a really approachable dentistry. So basically, we are creating a philosophy where all these dots are coming together to help clinics to develop this kind of dentistry and help them, apart from reducing their carbon emissions, help their patients to go less to the dentist, have a healthier life, looking at aspects like nutrition, posture, sleep apnea, and if they need to be treated, you treat them in using the highest technology, which is using digital, which is using AI and all the softwares that you have available.
Really cool. So it's actually a generational thing. It's not something that you just make changes today. It's like
No.
you say, it is more of a philosophy.
No.
Not just changing your light bulbs.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we looked into that, into what is actually, which short-term actions they have a huge impact. And there are not many, to be honest. Like the biggest problem is the patients going back and forth from the dental clinic. This is what creates a 75% of the carbon emissions in healthcare. But the waste that we create is almost a 1%. So it's not only on the recycling, on how we practice. It's mainly on you need to help patients to go less to the clinic. So I think this is going to take almost a generation.
It's a really interesting concept, isn't it? Because I've never thought about the emissions from dentistry more widely. Is the transportation of patients to and from the clinic, the impact you can make as a practice. I mean, don't get me wrong, it would still be a positive impact. But actually, if you could create an environment where the patients didn't need to visit as often, through, them managing their better health or health care themselves, or as you say, there's techniques now where there's AI. Some people are using tools so they can kind of track and monitor aligners from home as opposed to having to visit a practice more often. Those sorts of things. And going forward, where do you see dentistry going in the future in terms of use of AI and technology? If we kind of project out 5 or 10 years, what do you think dentistry will look like then?
I think in that way is going in the right path. Hopefully, it's going to end up in the right hands. I think it's clear that corporates will take over the industry or clinics coming together somehow. So it's gonna be interesting, and I think they're learning from the past. They're actually letting dentists practice how they want to do their own dentistry. But it's a really exciting and unique moment in the dental history, because we're bringing a lot of cool stuff. The big funds and business people, they realize that there is a need, and I think they're going to bring even more sources to the industry. There's going to be hopefully more research on doing better dentistry. But I think it's not, and we're going in the right path, and also the expectations from patients are so high that you can't do a bad job anymore. Like people are not accepting any kind of treatment just like this. So it's making us, I think I want to feel like we're doing a better dentistry, better than ever.
Which is good, isn't it? A bit of competitive pressure, be that from your clinical peers within the profession or the expectation from patients. If that drives standards to a higher level, that's got to be good news.
Quite often it's consumer that drives
change.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Now people, you do a single central, you need to match it really well. Like you can't just like pick the color that you want. They know what they want. They have information. They know that they can be done. And they are pushing us to do the best dentistry we can ever do.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, brilliant. Cool. Mehy, it's been a joy. We always finish up the same way. We always like to ask our guests the same 2 questions. So the first question we have for you is, if you could be the fly on a wall in a situation, where would that be? What would you be looking in on?
You want the cool answer or like the politically correct answer? Which
No,
cool one,
I think looking at you and given your history and your heritage, I think we'll take cool.
Well, I think if I imagine I'm a fly and I see a room where Leonardo da Vinci is painting the Mona Lisa,
Yeah.
I would be like, wow. And that if then I can see like the backstage of the Rolling Stones, I'll probably go to the backstage.
Fair enough.
Yeah,
you nearly went for the classic, but you couldn't get away from the rock and roll.
Yeah, I can tell you another story. Yeah, I can be like more romantic, but I can, probably, and I have to be honest, I probably will go to the backstage.
Yeah. But both very creative, but in different ways.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Will the Stones be as long lasting as the Mona Lisa? There you go. That's another one to debate.
I was going to say, yeah. Well, they've nearly been around as long as the Mona Lisa. They're doing pretty well.
Give them a few hundred years, they'll be fine.
And our last one is, if you could meet somebody, if you were given the opportunity to sit down with a nice glass of red wine, who would you sit down and have a drink with?
No, I would probably. I mean, I'm really fascinated, to be honest, about how Leonardo da Vinci could master so many different jobs, different professions. He had like 20 professions, from architect, from writer, from obviously a painter, from philosopher.
Inventor, loads of things.
In that way. Yeah, probably would be him. That would be really inspiring. Yeah.
When you said at the beginning, is he kind of an inspiration for you? Because you were saying that you could see yourself having perhaps multiple different careers through your life. Are you kind of the Da Vinci of the modern age?
That's huge. I mean, the thing is that my hobbies are: I make hats, I make terrariums, which I like art. My house is full of art. I like, but in the future, I don't see myself as a dentist for too long. Yeah. I would like to change completely to a different profession. But so to see someone that actually can master all of them at the same time, I would like to actually. I don't even know if he can talk. He would be like all in his world of creativity and fantasy. So I would be like, how. I mean, obviously, is in a different level of creativity and everything, but I would be really keen to actually meet him in person.
That'd be cool.
Yeah.
Well, I think Mehy, dentistry is very fortunate for you to have come into it and for the time that you spend in it. I think you add an awful lot to the profession with your flair and the ideas you've got. We appreciate your time today. We're both coming to the Dental Collective, so we will look forward to seeing you on the night. Looking forward to the debate.
Bring your trainers. It's going to be fun.
Yep. We'll do that, and we're looking forward to the debate, and we're going to stick around for the party, so it'll be good fun. But no, thank you for your time today. It's been great fun.
Yeah, brilliant.
Thank you
very much.
Thank you for having me, and see you soon.
Look after yourself, Mehy. Keep well.
Cheers, man.
Take care.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Dentology, where we discuss the business of dentistry. If you like what you heard, please do subscribe where you found this episode. That would be amazing. And also follow us on Instagram.